It started when we recorded.
I'm just you're fucking terrible, bro. If I get fucking sick again, I'm gonna get so mad. Welcome back to LiveWire Film Reviews. It seems like somebody's coming down with something yet again.
No, I just told you it's just a tickle in my throat.
Fuck that, bro. Like last time it was a tickle in the throat and I got a fucking eye infection, ear infection. My tonsils were swollen.
It's like full-blown HIV.
I know. Jesus Christ.
Bronchitis. Everything.
Doctor's like, you got 2 weeks to live. All right, so let's go in with the movie that we were talking about today. We talking about The Witch.
Yes.
Crazy ass witch.
My understanding is first-time writer-director Robert Eggers.
Yeah, he's known for short films.
I heard, off the strength of this movie, that his next one is going to be, he's tapped to do a remake of Nosferatu.
You're lying.
No.
Word?
Check it out.
Oh my gosh. Well, call Willem Dafoe again, right?
Shadow of the Vampire.
Yeah, man. He's the only person in mind that I can... you know who I can see that? Christoph Waltz. He's got the chin.
You know who I can see? Tim Roth.
Oh, God. Please. You know, Tim Roth is just like crossing his fingers like, I hope Christoph Waltz turns it down. Like, please turn it down. I can do Waltz.
Yeah.
I could do the best Waltz impression.
That is so evident. You know what's funny is that I didn't really pay attention to his Waltz impersonation until you told me that's exactly what he was doing in The Hateful Eight.
And now you can't see anything but Christoph Waltz. It's almost like...
I feel like Tim Roth has to be the next Christoph Waltz.
But wasn't Tim Roth around before Christoph Waltz? Alright. So, but we digress.
You're right.
Robert Eggers. This is his first big movie. It got loads of love at Sundance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, funny thing about it. I was talking to my dad about it. He hasn't seen it yet. He told me that in Sundance they screened it in black and white. And
Interesting.
I was just like, is that for real? Like true? I don't know for sure, but because it is in color. You know, when we saw it. I think
the impact of black and white would actually make it pop more. Like I don't know. I just feel like this has like a old style filmmaking. Silent it really could have been like, I mean, there's so much dialogue in the film,
right?
But this really could have been like a silent film.
True. And
you still would have had the impact that
score
had.
That music.
What went we out into this wilderness to find? Leaving our country, kindred, our fathers' houses. For what? For the kingdom of God. Let us pray.
This movie is very reminiscent of you know how like last year we had quite a few movies that followed the John Carpenter style. I think
follows, right?
Yeah, like It Follows.
The music, you're right, man. It's just like they're going back to the originators. These horror films that pop up that are more indie art house, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it followed a generic, 1980s horror film.
Right.
It brought it back. It was like a retro horror film back when horror films meant something. And nowadays, they're regular, slasher films. Your favorite found footage.
We get those by the dozens now.
So I just feel like when a movie like It Follows or this film, The Witch, that we're gonna review, when they come about, I really feel like these filmmakers are the ones that we were supposed to be, on the lookout for. Yeah. Exactly, and they just learned from the predecessors.
Yeah,
and they're really bringing a style of horror film that it was not my generation, but older horror films of the 60s and the 70s.
But that we were put on put on game with.
Right,
people would just like, you want to watch a real horror movie, you watch these.
Right.
Now you watch Rosemary's Baby, you watch The Exorcist, you watch things like the original Halloween, things that really put fear.
The first Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ah, ooh.
You know what I mean?
That one still, because I literally thought it was a documentary when I was a little kid.
To be honest, like it felt like it looked and felt like a documentary. But what, I don't know if the director, the Toby Hooper, I think.
Toby Hooper.
I don't know if he knew what he had on his hands when that film came out, because I bet you it was not made with any money.
Right.
What I mean?
It looked like it was made
just,
super cheap.
It was like the staple of what a horror film is supposed to be.
Amen, brother.
So I just feel like movies that are coming about, like It Follows and The Witch, are just bringing it back to that retro style of horror film.
And we're all better for it, too.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that really haunts your nightmares, haunts your dreams, keeps you thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's not like, say, Unfriended or The Gallows, where it's just cheap trickery and that's that. And then really dumb characters, dumb dialogue.
We don't need all of, the Apple products to get scared. We don't need all the technology and, the advances that we have today in order to,
I bet
to get the scares.
Who's the dude that that does all those movies that comes out like 5 a year? Blumhouse, right? Blumhouse. I bet he mad that he didn't get this one. I bet he mad.
Because he does it cheap in terms of profit, which I feel like this film was made. We were just talking about just right before we recorded.
3 mil, right? 3 mil.
Already making 9 on this way to 10.
He was like, "Damn it! I could have promoted this so much better. Damn it!" But yeah, let's go into the story, man. This movie goes into goes all the way back in time,
like the 1600s.
1600s.
Set in New England.
Yeah, and this family, what were their last name? Do we even find out what their last name is? Well, this family, led by their father, his name is William, right? Mm-hmm. William, they're being banned from their community. And from their plantation. And he's just like, I can't stand around with all y'all fake Christians. You guys are.
It's because of their beliefs that they're like basically shunned out of their community, as like you said.
I guess these people are too old school in a society that's, I guess, modernizing for their time. Mm-hmm. And they don't like that. They don't like that it's modernizing. We don't even really grasp why they're getting kicked out. Really, it's just they get kicked out and they move on.
We think it's faith based, though.
Oh, of course. Like I said, I think it was because like. Times are changing. They're modernizing. They're changing up their style a little bit, considering the times. Right. And these people are so old school that they do not like that. Yeah. At least the dad doesn't. So they go out and they end up in the middle of nowhere, and they say, "This is gonna be our home."
In like the forest or the backwoods or something.
Right. And they make it. They're making it work. Out of nowhere, we meet. This little girl, her name's Thomas, and her brother, what's her brother's name? Caleb. The mom's name is Catherine, and then we got these two little devil children,
Mercy and Jonas.
Jeez, devil children who just be walking around, and they have this happy little black goat that
but pops out of nowhere, right? Like
yeah, I guess they just found this goat, or did they?
Black
Phillip, and they cannot help but keep mentioning the thing, like Black Phillip.
I feel like there's racial undertones of this.
Oh yeah. The little white family, the little white kids like Black Phillip. Yeah. Shaking my head like.
Get back! You should stop that!
And there's not a black face to be seen in this movie.
Well,
except for the goat.
in the movie's defense, it's really just them. You don't even see the community around them. Like when that shit
when
is
they're
happening,
shunned from the plantation, I think you
just see a little bit of a couple of people, but you're in the perspective.
Native Americans though, you actually see Indians.
Oh yeah.
When they leave, and they're closing like the big.
I guess I wasn't paying attention.
I saw that.
But yeah, because mostly it's
like
focused
cultural,
on
historical background they're giving you.
Because mostly it's focused on Thomason, the girl, the daughter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, and Thomasin is left taking care of her little baby sister.
Their youngest.
Or the youngest baby, like infant.
Right.
And the baby goes missing. I don't know what happened. They don't know what happened. They feel like it's a wolf.
Peekaboo, and all of a sudden the baby's vanished into the woods.
Really peekaboo. You know what I mean?
And but you see a figure of a elderly hunched.
Well, let's not give away too much.
The movie's called The Witch, so I'm just saying.
Oh, is there a witch?
Well,
that's
for the audience to decide.
Because once that situation happens, then slowly you start paying attention that the family is going against each other. The father's doing everything that he can, but the mother is just a wreck.
Yeah.
She's just a wreck. She's losing it. Like, she's missing her baby. The little kids
this
are
is
just
like worse than postpartum depression.
Right.
She's like losing faith in God.
Yeah. And the little kids are just, little bastards, just, going around, and they start claiming that the sister's the witch and whatnot. They claim that they're talking to the goat, that the goat is a demon, and, that just saying all this dumb devil shit, like that's just causing more problems than good. And the son Caleb is the only one that's trying to be a man and trying to put everything in order and trying to
just keep his family afloat as
right.
They're slowly going down a downward spiral.
Because Thomasin could be doing that, but she's too busy handling all the responsibilities around the house.
Right.
And pretty much out of nowhere, it's like the thought of evil is just tearing them apart, while at the same time, there is actual evil coming their way.
Right.
Just playing mind games with them and doing more things. Give us your opinion, Peter. Give us your thoughts.
Man, off the basis of what you just described, The Witch has to be by far modern day version of The Exorcist. I felt that when I came out of the theater, I was genuinely scared. And not in a way where you get your cheap, it's pop, something pops out of nowhere.
There's no jump scares. There's
no
like, oh, there's none of that.
Exactly.
There's none of that in this. This is actual...
might have been one scene at the very end.
Yeah,
but that's it. So if you're looking for like your general like scares or your general torture porn, you are not going to get that here. Your average horror movie fan, I'm going to say that it's going to be generally split. You're either going to love this film and take it for what it is, which is an art house retro style of horror filmmaking, or you're just gonna think, man, this is some boring, like slow bullshit. And I feel sorry for those that go with the latter, because this film is genuinely scary for those that have faith in anything, whether it's a higher being or
well, let's talk about that for a little bit, because we were talking to one of our coworkers and she was just like, sometimes I don't like movies that teach me a lesson. I just want those jump scares. And like, but let's go back to, what did those old school movies actually make us afraid? They actually make us think of actual fear, actual terror, the Exorcist,
actual evil,
right? Like, actual evil. At that time, it wasn't so modern. I mean, I know the 70s and the 80s aren't that long ago,
right? But
they still had like the presence of values and faith.
Right, I know what you're saying. Back then,
were stronger, more prevalent.
There was a lot more just faith in the family structure of the American people. Not saying that we've completely lost it, but back then it was much more stronger.
Right.
Just the family values intact as far as your faith goes. And I think with a film like The Exorcist, or the other contemporary piece that would be a companion piece to this film, would be Rosemary's Baby, which you were saying.
Yeah.
Those are just two films that are basically great examples of what we can compare The Witch to. It's only because those two films take the most evil of evil figures in history, which is the devil, Lucifer, whatever you call him,
the Omen,
exactly,
right.
Damien. Just to utter this this demonic figure that we all know, that has to be the most scariest of boogeymen ever.
Scratchy! What's happening?
Thomason, take the children outside.
What does this to me? What does this? His mouths are sealed up. Oh, God. William. Come on.
Hold him. Children, away from this. Thomason, now.
He'll break his jaws. Christ.
Yeah, of all time.
Of all time,
And will
hands
always
down.
be.
And
Will
hands
always
down.
be.
So when you portray this figure, you gotta do it with care. You gotta do it with like precision and paying attention. I think what you said it best was that this film just is thorough in paying attention to every
Yeah, it's very detailed.
minuscule detail.
Right.
Exactly.
It's very detailed. They even tell you at the end of the film that the guy did his homework. These come from real actual folk tales.
Folklore,
That even actually use some dialogue from those folk tales.
The text. I mean, even like when the opening credits opens with the witch and it says, a New England folk story. Just the text is just reminiscent of like centuries ago, of these folk tales that are told, time and time again. And this is just a tale that I don't know necessarily we've ever heard before, but it's great that Robert Eggers brings it to the screen.
Oh yeah,
because this is just a new staple of classic horror film making.
Absolutely. I mean, this movie, I was telling you, like, I have not seen in a very long time such imagery of pure evil on the screen that, if I was a little boy, this movie would give me nightmares for years. I would never want to watch this movie ever again.
Me too, man. I remember coming home from the theater. I took my youngest brother to go see it, and I told him before, I just gave him the heads up that this is not your average horror film. Like, if you're looking for something like Hostel or anything like that, you're not going to see that here. And you might be bored. You might come out and be like, well, that wasn't that scary, But I think that he was feeling what I was feeling, and the fact that we were raised Catholic is very scary to us.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about a test of faith. It shakes,
This whole film is about sin and about giving into sin, and that's just...
and playing with it. Sin.
That's just recipe for disaster as far as like Christians, Catholics, just faith, fear.
That you don't that you take the wrong path and you take it lightly. You don't take it seriously.
Yeah. Because
these kids, a lot of them, all of them, at one point or another, start playing with the idea of evil. And it comes back to bite them in the ass.
Yeah.
It seems like the only person that in the family that just sees this as a test of faith, and he really just tries to keep his composure and keep it together, is the father, who keeps going back to the Bible. He keeps trying to do the right thing. He doesn't want to do any wrong, but even he falters and commits sin.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're talking about even the slightest, the smallest sin, even if it's like a lie.
Right.
Like all of these people are
like
guilty.
Telling a lie to mother, and that's his sin.
Setting like the wrong example to the children. Things like that, and it all comes back to haunt them because this witch that we don't see like in the shadows and whatnot, she's using that.
Right.
She's using that and manipulating them.
Yeah.
It's just terrifying. It's slow.
It's
you know what? I can't even. I
never
never felt like it was slow because the tension. Thanks to the beautiful score. Who made that score? Let me see.
Let's check that out.
Music by Mark Corvin. Mark Corvin. He made this powerful score that it's just. it left me uneasy for the whole film.
It's the strings, bro.
Yeah, man. It was just
The woodwinds.
and then it's just like, and then you're looking at the trees with this music, and there might not even be anything in there, but you looking around like.
Dang, I think seriously, I think the score in some scenes made my hair stand up.
Enhances the terror so much, and the performances are amazing.
Yeah.
From everybody, and the dialogue rings true to the times. I mean, this guy really paid attention to detail.
I think at first, because you're just not used to it, not unless you
Right.
read folklore, that you're just kind of.
You're gonna feel a little lost. You're gonna wish they had a subtitle in this.
Right. But I think by the end of it, that you start gathering.
Yeah, you'll start catching on
the ideas and the interplay of the family.
But I mean, I'm talking about this movie has it all, really. Like, has scenes that are reminiscent to The Exorcist, when the family's trying to pray over over one of their children.
That has to be the scariest scene for me. And when they're saying the Lord's Prayer, Our Father.
Yeah, Our Father.
I'm there with them. I'm like
you was praying. Pray, baby, pray. Our Father.
Our Father, God in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom.
How come these boys don't remember that shit? Like,
and there's a lot of thighs. The term thigh. Thigh.
And we ain't talking about chicken thigh.
No, not talking about.
Thou art.
It's just a lot of old terminology. Like you said, it rings true. It makes the film even more scarier.
Oh man. Well, I mean, we have it all, and this crazy ass witch uses these other animals, like the use of a crow and this fucking bunny rabbit that, like, he just stares them down, like,
he just flares his nostrils
and looking at him like, I'm gonna fuck you up. Yeah. And the little boy finds his rabbit and he shook.
Yeah.
He shook, like,
yeah.
Oh damn, this rabbit caught my ass. Yeah. It's scary. It's terrifying. By the end of the film, I was left shook. It left me think for a while. Now, this is not a movie, like we said, that it's about jump scares. This is a movie that, if you really start thinking about the ideology of
into
evil,
people's psyches.
You know what I mean? The power of evil, the devil, the manipulation. This is a movie that, like, I can't take my girl because, she's very religious, and she sees this and she'll have nightmares for the rest of her life.
I don't blame her. I went home and I got into bed. My son turns and he touches my back, and I'm shook. I'm like, oh, the witch got
me. Grab that Bible, homie.
Black Phillip.
Oh man. Yeah, what would you give this movie, man? What would you give this movie?
You know what? It's really hard to. Oh man. It's definitely such a slow burn. You say you don't feel it, but in the beginning of the film, there is a build-up. There is a slow building tension.
But it worked. And you know what helps it is that when you first see the witch, or what you believe is the witch,
right?
Whatever she's doing some evil shit.
Yeah.
But it already looks grotesque. It looks evil. It looks scary. And once after you see that moment, like, you go, crap, this thing is out there.
Yeah.
And you go back to the family, and even though it might take a long ass time because this witch knows how to play her cards right, like, you think to yourself, Jesus, she could come out at any moment. So I was just like left in the movie like, they're like, let's go out to the woods. Like, hell no, don't go out to them woods.
There's some scenes of unnervingness, and very unsettling, just imagery that's used, whether it's a full naked body, whether it be infant or adult, that just leaves
Be
kind
looking
of
at
disturbing.
cleavage.
Looking at cleavage, but I'm just saying that. Yeah, I mean, there's just they play with flesh. It's really a test of the character's faith, but also I'm not gonna go overboard and saying the audience as well, but there's just something unnerving and disturbing about the imagery. I think when you see it in the trailer, one critic says like you question if you're supposed to be watching this, or like I forget how he put it, but I totally get what he was saying, where I don't know if necessarily we should be watching certain scenes in this film.
I really felt like a little boy, and if I was a little boy, my dad be like, "No, this is a no movie."
Yeah, something very retro,
No,
very when they had X-rated, like
I'm saying, man,
You know what
because
I mean?
even and this movie's not like super gory. This movie doesn't show a lot of violence on screen. It doesn't show a lot of like. There's no sex scenes, things like that.
But there's nudity.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
There's nudity.
There's very little. Like, I mean, in length, in
Right.
time length.
Yeah.
You
You see it though.
it's there.
Yeah.
But it's just well placed. It's done
Very
with taste.
Very Polanski, very
Yeah.
Kubrick. I think initially I was gonna give it a 4.5 because I really can't say that I would give it a full-fledged 5, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and go ahead and give it a marginal 5. I'm not gonna say full-fledged because there's just something unnerving and unsettling and disturbing about this film that I'm like, I can't go watch it. It's the best thing. Like,
Dang, this
Black Phillip.
This
I
movie
believe.
scared this movie scared Peter so much
That,
that
me
he doesn't want to give it the 5.
Me being a Catholic, I can't like give it sing its praises. I can't say it's the best thing with flying colors. I could tell you right now that it's a very well made film, and for that I give it its due diligence, and I respect it enough to say, you know what, this is a film that must be seen. And I'll go out there and watch Risen. If you're questioning my,
we're gonna have to do a
faith.
double feature.
If you question my faith, I'll go watch Risen. I would say that I'm gonna give it a marginal 5, and just say, bless it for following a retro style of horror filmmaking.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna have to give it a full-fledged, strong 5.
Okay.
We
But
love.
you get my reservations.
No.
though.
Yeah. I understand, man.
You know what
What I mean? It's
I
just
can't sing his praises.
I can't.
'Cause it's some
I can't
devil
go. Out,
shit.
I can't go out like no sucker like that.
Okay. I know. Get it in.
I'm just saying. We loved last year's It Follows.
Yeah.
I think it was a great movie, but that movie had lots and lots and lots of flaws.
Okay.
From we would never see an adult ever. We would never see certain situations happen. Things really don't make sense and add up. But it worked for the movie because it's in the perspective of the teenager. Sure, whatever
You buy
works.
that?
Yeah, like I let those flaws slide because it was such an ode to John Carpenter, kind of like The Guest. I don't think you ever saw that one.
I never saw it.
But yeah, this movie, it's very much like an ode to who is it? The director of William Friedkin and Roman Polanski.
Right. Right.
But he makes sure that there's no flaws like that, like in those other movies. Not since the Babadook have I seen this a horror film so strong.
Babadook, that's right. I
Yeah.
never saw it, but
That's another one that's a very much like a John Carpenter and William Friedkin type. Like they go back to the basics.
Right.
I mean, and they're all better for it. They take the good stuff from the masters and they show. It's like they remind the modern people what's so great about them.
Right.
This movie will shake you to your core, and it will actually have a lot of people remember like what makes a horror movie genuinely scary.
Yeah.
What is so special about these horror movies? It's not about like teenagers getting hacked off or brutal ways of getting killed. Everybody's got their niche, sure, but this movie shows you like real fear and pure evil. I mean, hands down, like I wanted to take some notes.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's just very impressive, powerful casting, immaculate details, cinematography, amazing, score
on point.
I mean, it's just there's so much win. I can't think of a flaw in this film. This is already one of the best films of the year. And I know it's early, and you know what? And I will say it, 2016, we've been blessed. We've been doing
so far. The films this year. Started off with a bang.
I mean, we've already got a great animated movie. I mean, I didn't see it, but you were saying, and it got well reviewed. Kung Fu Panda. We already got a very well reviewed, and we loved it. Superhero movie, Deadpool.
Great.
We got a comedy that talks about old school Hollywood that you said was great, Hail Caesar.
Yeah.
Now we got another one in a different genre that's getting a lot of love, The Witch.
Yeah.
You know, we already got, like, you could say, like, a good list of strong candidates for best of.
Right.
You know, but this movie is a movie that I think a lot of cinephiles are going to love. A lot of modern audiences are going to love. It's if you're patient with it, don't be no bitch. And start saying, well, this is slow.
Don't write it off so quick.
Yeah, don't write it off. Don't be no bitch and say, this is slow. This is boring.
Sit down and
people.
Watch it.
I don't like the way they talk with the D and the thou and the die. And then, like, well, you know, like, you can't
Read
even.
a fucking book.
Right. Like, you can't even spell correctly, and you're already complaining. Like, watch this movie, learn something, man.
Yeah.
Like, learn something and be scared.
Yeah.
I dare you to watch this movie with the sound all the way up in the middle of the night with all the lights turned off.
I told you I saw it at 8:00 showing, and
I couldn't even do that, bro. I had to watch it at the 2:00. I was just like, hell no, I need some sunlight.
Yeah.
I need some sunlight. I went to a Jamba Juice right after, got me a nice wholesome
what's
smoothie.
Crazy is that I couldn't do anything, to shake the film off.
That's what I was saying. That's how I told you this.
I had to go to work the very next morning, so I had to straight to
Oh,
bed.
and then that drive in the middle of the night, because
crazy.
You leave early in the morning.
At least I had my brother for along, for the company. But what's funny is when we were talking about the film on the way to the car, and when we got to the car, the Delama Mall parking structure.
Yeah.
It's basically empty, and there's a car, car, right next to mine that has a black lab, I think, in the back of the car, and it's just staring at us. And then everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!"
Why would they have a black lab?
He was like, "Open the door, bro! Open the door!" It was scary, man. This film shook me, threw me for a loop, and it's just an ode to old horror.
Yeah,
films.
man. Whatever horror film that's coming out later in the year, you got
this film sets
the standard, the
bar considerably high. So
yeah, you got a lot to live up for, man.
Damn it! I said I wouldn't sing its praises. Still, it's a marginal 5 for me because it's some devil shit. But
come on, man. Come on.
I don't believe in Black Phillip, alright?
Hey. That's okay. That's all right. It's okay to be scared, man. Yeah. All right, let's call it. Anything else to say?
I don't believe you, Black Phillip. LiveWire.
Bah. Black Phillip safe, you are wicked.
Does he really speak to thee?
This wilderness will not consume us.
Who's there?
You've cursed this family. This is witchcraft.
She placed a curse on me!
Why have you turned against me?
I saw it.
Your reign of evil! It's not safe, not with them!
Think on thy sins.